Today I'm out here on this 2025 Moto Morini Calibro Bagger, and I'm going to be riding it for the first time. Now guys, I've never ridden this bike before, but after today I should have a much better idea of what this thing's all about. You guys stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll give it a chase score. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Welcome to our first ride. I don't know. I really don't. Check out the key though. Pause. Gotta be in neutral. Not very cruiser-like. You know what is cruiser-like? Listening to some badass tunes on a cardo. Got a discount code for you guys right there. Save yourself some money and get the best Bluetooth in the market. You're welcome. I will now disappear. Alright guys, that's what it looks like and that's what it sounds like. Now, before we get on this sweet little ride, we get to thank the sponsor of this video, which is easily the best motorcycle phone mount on the market, which is Quad Lock. So guys, I've been using Quad Lock for years now, and they're the only motorcycle mount that I trust on my motorcycles, and that is why we always install one on our first ride bike. So on the Calibro here, we have the handlebar mount. We love a handlebar mount. We're using the little ball mount that goes into this adjustable arm. I really like this adjustable arm lately because all you have to do is loosen it, and you can move this all around. So if you're in the middle of a ride and you want to move your phone to over here or something like that, you can. I love having that customizability. So we've got the short adjustable arm that's going into the vibration isolator or vibration dampener, and what that is going to make all the vibrations from the motorcycle not translate to your phone, which could mess up your phone's camera. And then of course the lock part of Quad Lock that matches in with your phone mount like I have here. You literally just put it on. If I don't go into my voicemails, who checks their voicemails anymore? Boom, goes on, and that thing's not going anywhere, and it's not going to get all the vibrations from the bike. I love Quad Locks. I've got a discount for you guys. If you don't have one, you have got to get one. I cannot ride without my Quad Lock on the bike. Thank you, Quad Lock, for sponsoring the show. Oh my god, dude, I'm in the voicemails again. Stop. Anyways, guys, grab yourself a Quad Lock with a discount code. Thank you, Quad Lock, for sponsoring the show. Now, let's get on this bike. All right, guys, let's do this thing. I'm pretty excited about the Calibro, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big cruiser guy, but this thing at its price point looks phenomenal. So, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, as you all know, and check that out. Incredibly bent legs. So my short kings out there, I have found the Steed. No problem with the height situation. We do have, I guess you would call these forward controls. Like, they're almost mid controls because my forward controls would be out here, so kind of mid controls. So my short guys out there and girls, short girls and guys out there are going to be having a really good time. So guys, no modes to talk about, no real craziness. We just get a unadulterated fun first ride today. So let's get it started. Also, you guys never trust YouTube to tell you guys when we post content. You guys should sign up to our newsletter. Links in the description down below. That we will email you guys and let you know when we're putting content out. It's way easier to find out stuff than waiting for YouTube. All right, guys, it's a first ride. Let's talk about body position on the Calibro Bagger. I don't know what to call the lower part. It's not really mid controls, but it's not forward controls, so it's kind of like a halfway spot, but I really like where my legs are on this bike. The seat is incredibly comfortable. I'm loving how soft the seat is. And then my back's kind of upright and my arms are just kind of forward, out kind of forward in front of me.
This, for me, is almost like pinnacle where I want to be on a cruiser. I've got my legs aren't too far forward where I feel like I'm just sitting weird. I really like the body position on this bike, so I think Moto Morini really nailed it on this one. Alrighty, coming up to our mode change red light, and we have no modes to talk about. Pretty simple motorcycle, really. But yeah, as you guys can see, no controls that say mode button on it. We got no modes on the old Calibro Bagger. All right, guys, so let's talk about what's powering this bike. We've got a 693cc parallel twin. It's gonna be good for around 68 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque. That's coming in at a total weighted package of 443 pounds, which for a 700cc bike, it does seem a bit heavy to me. That fan is really high-pitched. I didn't even notice it until it kicked on. Now, guys, as far as city performance goes on the Calibro Bagger, I really feel like when I saw on paper that it was 443 pounds, I was like, that's a hefty gal. But that 50 foot-pounds of torque really helps this thing accelerate with really no problem. And moving the bike back and forth, I haven't really had a problem with like getting in and out of the lane and changing lanes. It's a little slow to do it, but it's also a cruiser, so I don't know if you're gonna expect anything different than that. And if I'm gonna be 100% honest, I've been really happy with this thing cruising around town. You know, we've driven to the first ride spot, we've ridden around, we've done the camera car run, and this thing has just been really enjoyable so far. And I've had a really good time. I think the mirrors do a good job. I'm upright. I can, between the mirrors being in a good position and me being kind of upright, I can swivel my head really easily. So I've had a good time in town, and I think part of that is just loving the body position that this bike puts me in. It's so simple. Cruiser guy. God, that guy was the definition of a Harley rider. That actually sounds kind of good. I don't think this bike sounds good. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think, but when you get this parallel twin revved all the way out, it starts having a little bit of a growl. Look at that, we can get around traffic with no problem. I don't know why I thought 443 pounds was heavy. And see, you lean it from side to side, and it does take a little time to get going. That's kind of what I'm meaning with its agility, maneuverability, all the T's. It just wants to be revved out, that's all. What do I say about parallel twins, guys? They're the best. They're the best around. Don't let anybody take you down. You're the best around. Honestly, though, parallel twins are a cheat code. I don't know if I've ridden a parallel twin that I wasn't a fan of. You guys might have to fact check me on first rides with that, but I feel like it's a good chance I'm gonna like the bike if it's a parallel twin. What's happening? I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh my God, of course. Of course they got out of the way right then. I'm surprised how much pickup this bike has high up in the revs. Holy crap. We're way on up there and we still got some pull. Surprise, surprise. We're here for hidden power. We're a fan of that. Oh, we got the popo. We gotta be careful. I feel like traffic and red lights are just stopping me from having the enjoyable time I could be having on this bike. I'm not here for it. How dare they? I do feel like for a parallel twin, the power takes a little bit of a blip to really start going. Like once I really give it the gas, it then starts, it takes like a half a second to really get me going in the forward direction that I want to be. Other than that though, this thing in the city, solid, dude. Absolutely solid. If you're just riding around town, bro, you're gonna love this bike. How am I getting into traffic so fast, dude? I feel like maybe that's a sign that I'm enjoying this motorcycle, because I'm getting frustrated with how much traffic there is because I just want to be riding it. I don't want to be stuck in traffic. Well, hopefully when we get up here, we'll be able to get on the highway and we won't have to keep doing this going and stopping and going, stopping. But if we're testing a motorcycle for city performance, going and stopping is a pretty important statistic. And so far, the bike's been solid. I just want to ride it more. The bike is asking for more. You hear it? All All right, Operation do not get behind the UPS truck. Operation do not get behind the UPS truck for the highway entrance. That would be problematic. All right, Calibro Bagger, we're going to try the highway out. I have high expectations of you. You are a cruiser. I should be able to cruise effectively. You guys cross your fingers, and by cross your fingers, I mean hit the like button, that we get good traffic on the highway so I can actually test this. I've been getting bad luck on the highway on my first rides recently, so we need all the luck we can get. If you're watching this video, I bet you've never asked yourself, I wonder how fast a 2025 Moto Morini Calibro Bagger goes from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. Well, you know what? I don't care if you've asked for that, because I'm answering that question today. I think this is a second gear? Maybe. Interesting. We're gonna test that high that horsepower stuff. All right, guys, we're gonna wait for the traffic. Oh my God, there's a cop right there. Be cautious. On your mark. Get set. Go. Oh, that was a good gear. Oh, that was a good gear. This is gonna be solid. There's 80. What is my time? What is my time? I think I did a good job with gear selection on that one, which is also something I haven't been doing lately. Good job, Calibro. I did not have a lot of high expectations about the parallel twin on the highway, and I'm glad I did that gear. Nice. That was more pickup than I expected. All right, guys, so we're on the highway with the Calibro. Let's talk highway performance. First off, I'm getting a decent amount of buffeting on my helmet. I'm getting wind right here at my visor, which is not a great place. My helmet's bobbling all around, so that's not great. It is windy, but you know, I feel like we need a slightly bigger windscreen. Maybe just an addition to here, like a highway addition to that screen would help out a lot. And as far as vibrations right now, I would call the vibrations maybe a 5 out of 10. I can feel it in my hands. I can feel it in my feet. It's not necessarily annoying me at this point, but it's definitely there. It's definitely noticeable. Other things that are unfortunate for the highway is that there is no cruise control. I really am sad to see that this bike doesn't come with cruise control, because a lot of the stats are looking pretty good, especially for the price point that this bike is. You're gonna get over on me? Thank you, Tesla, for not letting your dumb driver do that. And as far as power on the highway, guys, I have plenty to get around traffic. You're not gonna be having a ton of fasting power. You're gonna have to like make those decisions ahead of time. You don't have that power to just throttle on and get going. You know what I mean? It takes some time to get up, but it definitely has the power to handle the highway, which is why the lack of cruise control is evident here. Other than that, tracking pretty well. It's windy, obviously, like I said, but I'm not really blowing all over the lane, so it does a good job there. And I mean, the steering's kind of the same, right? I'm making a steering decision, and then it slowly goes in that direction. So it could be a little better there, but it is a cruiser. So what kind of expectations are we coming into it with? Luckily, the throttle is relatively light, so it might not have cruise control, but at least the throttle's light. Bro, over 85. And the wind is just sucky. I would not want to go over 85. I'm gonna dial it down, because it's bobbling my head all around over 85. And again, that's kind of a letdown for a cruiser. So, you know, maybe not a cruiser you're gonna take on a super long trip, but for commuting, no problem at all. Half the time you're gonna be stuck in traffic anyway. All right, gonna be honest, kind of happy that we're done with the highway now. That was like, I feel like there's potential here, but with the lack of cruise control and the wind protection, it's just not there for me. So let's gear down, throw her over and see how she goes. Trying not to scrape. Well, I said that and then massively scraped. All right, so the lean angle, not, you know, it's a cruiser. What'd you expect? I kind of scraped before I expected to, though. Why are we stopping? Oh my God, is there a car behind me? Please don't smash me. Please don't smash me. God, that's so scary, dude. When the arrow says keep moving, and then they don't. Oh my gosh. And we're not using our blinker. All right, so the Mazda is a dangerous vehicle. We have to be careful. We have to be very cautious of this Mazda. They do not know what they're doing. All right, so let's talk about suspension on the Calibro. Very soft. One of my major things that I'm noticing is the compression needs to be stiffened up just a little bit. Now, as far as overall comfort, this bike is incredibly comfortable, and I do appreciate that. The only problem is there's a little too much dive for my taste with the front suspension. So if they just stiffened up the compression, I think that would solve that problem. So there's two things that it does. One, when I brake, it dives. You guys notice that? There's an initial like quick dive period, and that kind of upsets the motorcycle, so I don't love that. But then when I'm just moving the bike around, like when I was moving it in my garage, like it goes down too easily. I'm kind of okay with the rebound. I haven't really noticed anything that's got me annoyed with that. And I have no problems with the rear suspension as it is. So it's solid there. Overall, it's a very comfortable ride, but let me show you guys. You can't really adjust the suspension on this bike, so that does suck. But if you're looking for just a comfortable ride that you don't really want to push at all, maybe you won't really care. I kind of like pushing bikes a little more aggressive, and you just need that compression to avoid the bottoming out. All right, so let's talk about the gearing on this bike. It's kind of strange. Parallel twin, I expected a lot of power and die off, and I'm getting more of almost like a triple style engine where I'm getting good power, and then it peaks back up at the higher revs. So kind of neat there. It's almost like it has sacrificed a little bit of power in the lower revs for the higher revved area. Kind of strange. It almost seems, because of the way they've done the instruments cluster, it almost seems like the bike revs out really high, but it doesn't, because it only goes to 12,000. You know what I mean? And it redlines at 9 or 10. So it makes you feel like you're revving out a lot farther than you actually are. Look at that passing power in the city. No problem at all. Oh, and then I'm getting let down with the wind. Holy crap. It's just not a bike for higher speeds, man. Let's talk about the transmission real quick. Transmission's probably my least favorite part of the entire motorcycle thus far. So everything on the bike, considering how much this bike cost, it's been really solid. But the transmission just has this real clanky feel. It does not feel that smooth, and I can almost feel the gears like connecting when I'm shifting, and not in a good way. So I would say, as of right now, the transmission's probably my least favorite part of this entire motorcycle. Let's hard on the brakes real quick, and let's see how they feel. Brakes are okay, like at best. I'm not getting a ton of bite, and I'm not getting a ton of feel from the brakes. I think the brakes have a lot of work that they could get done. What brakes do we have? Do we even see? We have one disc in the front. It says Chaseontwowheels brake. It shouldn't be that bad. I kind of expect more feel out of a Chaseontwowheels brake, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I want more bite up front, and then I want more braking. So let me put it this way. I don't think the brakes are bad, but I think they could be a little better. I guess then we got to think about it. I'm on a cruiser. These bikes are not going to be made to like ride hard, brake hard. So maybe the brakes are okay. Maybe I'm coming into this too much in a sporty perspective. You guys let me know. Okay, let's talk about the cluster and the controls real quick. Overall, I feel like this controls and the bike really in general is solid, but I think there's a lot of like refinement that could be done that would really elevate the experience of this bike. The buttons are fine. They're a little small. They work okay. But one of the things I'm not a fan of is the dash. I feel like this, being the RPM counter, could have been my speedo instead, because like I'm on a cruiser. I don't really care what my revs are, but I do kind of need to know my speed. So I would rather have my speedo here, and they've got this dial, like the analog dial, but then we've got this little LCD dash down here that tells us more information like gas gauge, gear indicator, speed, oil temp, and other things that you can change with the buttons on the side. I have a really hard time seeing this LCD dash. I do not think it's bright enough, I think it needs to be way brighter, like at least 2 times brighter than what it is right now. When the sun's behind me, I can just barely see that thing. So not a huge fan of that. And another thing that kind of throws me off are the blinkers. We have Harley style blinkers on this bike, and what I mean by that is to turn your right blinker on, you hit this right blinker and you hit it again to cancel it. And then to turn the left blinker on, you hit the blinker on the left. So it's not just one blinker on one side. I'm not a fan of that on Harleys. I'm not a fan of it on here. I just don't like that. But I do kind of get the understanding that Moto Morini is probably going for a lower cost cruiser option, and you know, it can come with bags and everything, so they're kind of, you know, going for the Harley vibe, I guess. So I'm just not the customer for that, and maybe if you guys are Harley fans or you like Harley bikes, maybe you like that. You guys can let me know in the comments, but me personally, I'm not a big fan. Moving on, we also have these really thick levers here. The only problem I have with the levers, I do appreciate that they're blacked out, but they're very tall. And like, they're so tall I can barely get my finger to the bottom of them, so I can't get a really good pull on them. And then the clutch lever, I have to pull it back all the way. So I have a hard time two-fingering the clutch. Which I personally like doing. On a lot of cruiser bikes, this is kind of normal. I'm not a huge fan of that, so that's just kind of a personal preference thing. But like, I feel like they could do better with the logoing, the details of the Moto Morini logo in the triple and the bar clamp here. I feel like there's a little pieces like that they could be doing better, but overall, not terrible. And all right, guys, with all that being said, let's see how the bike handles the chase score.
Alright, so let's get into the chase score for the Calibro Bagger. So throttle response on this bike does do a pretty solid job, even though I feel like you gotta give it a little more throttle than you think at first to get the amount of power out of it that you want, so I'm keeping it even with a 5 here. I'm giving the agility on this bike a 7. I was actually kind of surprised at how easy I could throw it around traffic for being a cruiser. Now, I'm not super happy when it comes to the brakes. It's definitely nothing not safe, but I'm wanting more feel and a bit more bite, so this has got to be a 3 for me. For a mid-sized engine bagger cruiser, the acceleration will surprise you, so it's getting a 6 from me. Now, when it comes to the suspension, I know cruisers typically have a softer setup, but I feel like it might be a little too soft on the Calibro, so we're giving it a 4 here. For comfort, I'm giving this thing an 8. I really like how comfortable the body position is. Now, I'm going to hit this bike in the tech department because of the issue I brought up about the dash and my personal preferences about the blinkers, and I'm giving it a 2 here. The bike is very easy and user-friendly to control, so that's why it's getting a 6 for the ease of use. Now, I really want to give this bike a better score when it comes to versatility, but with the wind being so bad on the highway, it has to get knocked down for that, and I gotta give it a 3. Now, I think a bike in this price point, its fun factor is punching way above its weight class and gets a solid 7 from me. Alright, so let's go over the totals. For the ride, we've got 24. For usability, we've got 26, and that gives us an overall score of 50.
And guys, that is the chase score for the 2025 Moto Morini Calibro Bagger. For a middleweight, cost-effective cruiser with bags on the side, I think this is a phenomenal option for somebody getting into motorcycling that wants something that looks like this and performs really well. Could it use a little fine tuning around the edges? Sure. Are the brakes not as bitey as I want them to be? Yes. But as long as you don't plan on going on the highway and going over like 85 for a sustained amount of time, and you want something that looks cool, performs really well for the cost, I think this is a phenomenal option, and I am really happy with it. Especially in the city, by the way. I've loved this thing in the city. The comfort, the body position, the power, it's got everything I would need for city riding. And guys, shout out to Moto Morini. We have this as a press loan for a month, so we're going to be making a couple more videos on this. If you guys want any videos specific on this bike, let us know and we'll do our best to make those while we have it. Big shout out to you guys watching the video to this point. Make sure to hit the like button since you spent so long riding around with me. And if you guys want to check out more first rides we've done, we have a link in the description. You can watch all the first rides we've done to your heart's content. And guys, share this video out with somebody that you would love to go for a ride with on this bike. Guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. Thanks for spending some time with me. You guys go out there and ride safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Later. I just realized I didn't even show you guys what kind of space we got in the side bags.
Look at that. There we go. Not a ton of space, but I kind of like it that way because it looks really good on the bike. And since we have enough space, that's where you guys are going. Bye. I can't make it to where you guys can see me. Oh, there we go. Okay. Bye, guys. I'll see you on the next one.